Members of Congress of both parties agree the policies governing the federal workforce need work. The debate at a House Oversight and Reform Government Operations Subcommittee hearing this week, though, seemed to indicate that's about where the agreement ends. Tony Reardon is the president of the National Treasury Employees Union. He submitted written testimony to the subcommittee for that hearing. Tony, welcome. Thanks for coming on the program. What was the message that you wanted to send in your testimony overall to the committee?
Well, first of all, Francis, thank you very, very much for having me. I love being on your show. You know, the overall message, I believe, is that the American people deserve a federal workforce that is staffed with skilled, experienced, nonpartisan professionals. And we support the effort in Congress and by President Biden to reverse some of the policies of the last 4 years and make sure that we are once again recruiting and retaining the workers that our country needs. I'm talking about scientists and engineers, accountants, auditors, law enforcement officers, inspectors, information technology specialists, et cetera. The list, of course, goes on. And to that end, we provided them with a list of how to make federal service even more attractive for the best and brightest employees. And our list really falls into these four broad categories: pay and benefits that make it more competitive with the private sector, a stronger voice for employees in the workplace, robust COVID health and safety protocols, and making sure that the system remains one that is based on merit and skill and not on patronage or politics.
What do you take away from either this hearing, from discussions with members on both sides of the aisle or whatever, about what people can agree on the Hill, even if it's just a little slice of all of these issues? Do you see agreement now to try to move forward on some of the things that you've talked about, that other people have talked about? Is there agreement at all on federal workforce issues on the Hill?
Well, you know, I'm not sure, Francis, if there is widespread agreement on maybe some of the same things that you know, we're pushing. What I would suggest, though, is that I think we can probably reach some agreement on some of the things. You know, for example, I believe that many people on Capitol Hill would agree that federal employees deserve a fair pay raise. And, you know, if the FAIR Act were to be put into law, that would bring a 3.2% pay increase in for federal employees in 2022. And I think it would start to make up for years of freezes and below market raises. And so why do I think there can be some agreement on Capitol Hill about this, and why is this important? Because, you know, as the Federal Salary Council, and that's a body that I sit on, and it's certainly got folks from both sides of the aisle on it, federal employees now earn 23.11% less than their counterparts in the private sector. Healthcare premiums keep going up, including an average this year of 4.9% for federal employees. And so these below market raises and increase in healthcare costs, all of this makes recruiting and retaining the best and brightest extraordinarily difficult. And I believe that everybody shares the view that the American people deserve and should get the outstanding service that federal employees can deliver if they have the tools and the resources and they're paid appropriately so that we get the best and brightest. I think everybody can agree on that. And I would also add, Francis, I think it's important that we expand the new paid parental leave law into paid family leave.
One of the challenges, I think, in the 15 years or so that I've been following this as far as the pay thing goes, is that there are studies that indicate what you say, that the disparities 20 to 30% but both directions. In some cases, federal employees make a lot more. Your written testimony includes a lot of material about COVID safety. What's your sense of how the administration is doing at providing materials for people that have to go to the office now, and in preparing for people potentially to start to come back to work in the office over the summer and into the fall?
Yeah, that's an excellent issue to raise. And so let me sum it up like this, Francis. We believe that it is essential for federal agencies to continue maximum telework where possible until the pandemic subsides and vaccines are widely distributed. We also believe that agencies should expand MaxiFlex scheduling for federal employees, make necessary physical and scheduling, make sure that physical and scheduling measures are in place in the workplace to ensure adequate social distancing. Make certain that vaccines and testing are available to federal employees, to maintain cleaning protocols and ensure that PPE supplies are in workplaces, to notify all employees if a coworker tests positive or has been asked to quarantine because of exposure, to expand additional emergency leave for federal employees, which, by the way, as you know, expired on December 31st of 2020. And the final thing that I would add on this, Francis, is to provide administrative time for employees to receive the vaccine. That is an incentive to get people out to be vaccinated. And after all, that's what we all want, right? That's what's important to help this country get out in front of the this pandemic and bring it to as quick an end as possible.
Tony Reardon, thanks very much for coming on. Appreciate you sharing your testimony with us.
Thank you, Francis, very much for having me.